Like life advice or...
Yeah, life advice.
I'm trying to think. Like, I'm trying to be...
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Ordinary Freaks. B and Eddie here. And this week's guest is our good friend Dominique Alvarado. She's a food entrepreneur, founder of Algo Dulce. So Dominique, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Welcome. So I want to get straight into the whole chef, you cooking, stuff like that. So kind of like, can you speak about like, where did you get your start? Like,
I've always, like, even as a kid, have loved food. Mm-hmm. Like, food has always been a part of my life. I think, like, the first time that I, like, remember creating anything, it was a salsa de habanero con papaya, and I was 9. But it was really gross. Like, it was really bad.
I was like...
And my family was like, yeah, they're like, okay, like maybe next time you can make something else. Yeah. But I think that's like the first time that I physically remember making something, because I was like, this is kind of soothing. I kind of like this.
So at that point, you said you were like 9. At what point did you decide you were taking food or just cooking serious and not just kind of as a kid trying to make something up?
So my journey with food has been a little interesting because I was like officially diagnosed with an eating disorder when I was 12, and I was hospitalized for my eating disorder for the first time when I was 13.
Okay.
And so I've always had this relationship with food, but it's just evolved because obviously with being diagnosed with an eating disorder, it wasn't a healthy relationship with food. And it's something that I didn't enjoy for a long time. I would say that I was active in my eating disorder in terms of engaging in behaviors and destructive behaviors from 12 till I was like 18.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Wow. So it took time to build that healthy relationship with food. And so I'm 23 now, so it's still fairly recent that I've created this healthy relationship with food and viewing it as medicine for my body.
Gotcha. I guess what was the first thing that you remember being happy for cooking-wise, where you kind of started building that, first step forward towards that positive relationship with food?
I'm trying to think. That's a good question. I don't know that I can think of the first time that I made something, but I know like the first time that I ate pasta again in a long time, it just felt really good. I was like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I didn't die. Like, I still feel the same, and like it's okay.
Gotcha. Pasta's always good.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. In articles that people have written about you, you mentioned that cooking with your grandma, cooking with your relatives, is been like a huge staple in your life, right? Like, can you go deeper into maybe how that origin has maybe flourished into not only like you said, like feeling like you have more of a health relationship within food, treating it as medicine, but then also bringing it to the next level and like trying to educate like not only the next generation, which we want to talk to, but like also just like the general public.
Yeah, I can always remember helping my grandma in the kitchen with different things like crumbling el queso fresco, to cleaning beans, to making rice for the first time. But it was always therapeutic for me. And even when my family's here visiting from Mexico City, we still have the meals where we all get together and cook. And it's not like the women and the men. It's like everyone is actively doing something together. And a lot of the stories that we tell as a family are through food. So like, oh, ¿te acuerdas cuando en el pueblo comían esto? Hacíamos esto para Día de los Muertos or whatever. So it's always talking about food and how it's brought everyone together.
That's cool. Is there like a specific like meal that you like enjoy cooking with your family? Like, is it like a special occasion, or is it just like?
I love Christmas because we make bacalao.
That's
So
cool.
the way that my grandma makes it, bacalao, the salted cod, and she does it like in a tomato sauce, capers, fresh garlic, pine nuts, but like everything's from scratch. And then we usually eat it en bolillo. And she usually has everyone doing something. Like she has someone like cleaning the fish, she has someone chopping something, fresh herbs, someone working on the tomato base. So everyone's actively doing something.
It's important that you mention that, like, that it's not just the women or, you know, and the men, like, just doing stuff. Like, I remember, like, one of my best memories with my grandma was, like, when she would make tortas ahogadas. And she'll get the bolillo, or what we call virote. And then, like, I used to, that's probably one of the reasons why I'm big as hell, because I used to eat the white shit inside of it. What is it called?
El migajo.
Yeah, there you go, the migajo, right? I used to go so ham on that, dude. Oh, my God.
Me too, because my grandma always takes it out, and I'm like, that's like the best part.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
I've been like most gluten-free for about like a year and a half, but that's like one of the things that I miss because I always like the migajon.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. I used to love that stuff.
Going to Algo Dulce, excuse me. First, for people that don't know what Algo Dulce means, can you elaborate on that? And when did the idea for Algo Dulce first begin to brew in your mind?
So algo dulce means something sweet in Spanish. So like the three things that I make and focus on are the agua fresca, the fresh fruit water, vasos de fruta, the Mexican street fruit cups. I make my own chamoy, my own chili blend, and then also paletas mexicanas, authentic Mexican popsicles. I think 2017, that summer, I have strong opinions when people profit off our culture. And it's not just here in Milwaukee, but like even when you go to other cities which have like popping food scenes, it's always like, you know, the white person making trendy tacos or trendy paletas, but it's not like authentic to their nature and they're profiting off of it. But, you know, our people are doing the same, just not maybe generating the same profit off of it.
Gotcha. So I guess that's your not idea behind it, but I guess I'm just
Like your motivator?
Yeah, like not your motivator.
No, that wasn't like my motivator, but I was like, these are like
all those factors kind of inspired you to do
I was
this.
like, I know that I'm good at I was like these three things. No, but I'm good at creating different foods. And I just felt like something refreshing and good would be something positive to create in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
But bringing it back to, I also love Mexican paletas, but a lot of the times they're just way too sweet for me. So having like that natural sweet balance where it's good and you don't feel like you've been sipping, like licking sugar for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah. So what was the first step you took towards creating Algo Dulce?
Just getting to talk to other business owners and seeing what it'd be like, because I had no idea. I had no idea what I'd be getting into.
Right.
I guess even through all of that, I still was shook when when I started, because I was like, dang, this is a lot.
Yeah, who doesn't, though?
This is a lot. But I think all the positive feedback and people really appreciating and liking my product is what was like that motivator to just like keep going. It's the beginning. Like you can't be tired. Well, you can, but like
You gotta keep
push,
going.
push.
Yeah.
Do you find that like reassurance from people like literally consuming your your products and like loving it, and you get instant reactions because of that, right? Like it's the first sip, the first lick, whatever you want, and do you see that kind of helping you through that process of like, because I'm sure there's been times when you're like in a market, you're like, dude, I'm tired, this is a X amount of times or weeks or whatever nonstop, and finding that little kid that like maybe never had a freaking chamoy paleta, and next thing you know they're like, oh my god, this is
Yeah,
like,
I think
mom, don't ever buy no crap again, like this is it, type of thing.
Yeah, I think my favorite reaction is when I see Latinx folks who come to farmers markets and they try and they're like, está bien rico, no está muy dulce. Or I've had like, oh my gosh, like I have diabetes, but this isn't like super sweet, like how much sugar is in here. And we have that conversation and they're like, oh, I can actually have this.
Yeah.
So that's always heartwarming.
Right. Not bad, because I mean we're definitely underrepresented in those kind of places, especially in a city like Milwaukee. You don't see many people of color at these farmer markets. So I bet that's reassuring to see someone out there and enjoy your stuff. So you kind of mentioned all your motivation, and your first step was kind of to start talking to different business owners. At what moment were you like, bam, I'm launching this business, I'm launching this side hustle? Do you have a moment you can think of like where it just clicked? You're like, all right, I'm gonna go full on and attack this and get it done.
I think honestly, when I had a like catchy name, I was like, okay, this is it. Because I was, for the longest, like a month and a half, I was like, I have nothing. Like I can't think of like a name, so I couldn't like really envision it happening.
Gotcha, yeah.
But then when like the name fell, I was like, okay, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, I think it was kind of similar to us. Like, B was just like, had the crazy idea, like, what about a podcast? And we're sure, fuck it, what is it called? And I don't know if he had it already in the back of his mind or brewing, but like we were coming up with like, all right, what's the things, whatever. And then he said Ordinary Freaks. I was like, damn, that sounds cool. But I was like, we were like still unsure about it. I was like, I don't know if it's corny cool or it's like people are going to catch on to it. And then we just said, screw it. If it doesn't work, we'll just rebrand in the future. But I definitely get what you say when like you can't see because it's fog, right? Like you just fog in the mind and you're like, I want to do cool things, but I don't know to a certain extent what's cool, what's not. But then once you put the name to it, you kind of start seeing that vision further. I want to talk and get into Sabor Verde, which is kind of like your initiative. Is it something that you've partnered up with Escuela Verde out on the south side? Can you speak on like the importance of having like just programs in general like that in our community in Milwaukee?
Yeah, so for folks who don't know about Sabor Verde is a pop-up cafe led by an Escuela Verde senior. Escuela Verde youth have to complete a 1-year project for their senior year thesis, and so they have to partner with a community member, an organization, to accomplish something of impact. So the senior that I'm working with at Escuela Verde, Jocelyn, approached me like early summer so that we could kind of plan ahead for when it would launch in September. And it was an idea to launch Sabor Verde. And so Sabor Verde is a pop-up lunch cafe that takes place at Velabon Coffee Shop twice a month. And so the initiative was to highlight vegan, vegetarian dishes that are culturally conscious to our ethnic background, while having youth take that lead. And so cool. I think that it's very important because I feel like many times as a society we undermine youth and like what their abilities are. But I feel like with the right mentorship and right direction, they can execute incredibly. And so that's what I've been doing with the youth since September. And I don't know, it's amazing because they're very creative. They're developing skills, and we're learning from each other.
Yeah. Is that so? I would just want to maybe make you reflect a little bit from starting point. And I don't know if you've done any more like community outreach and stuff like that, helping with youth in the past, but like through this endeavor that's obviously super tied to what you'd love to do in September, and now thinking back, like, do you think the result was going to become what it is now?
No, I didn't know what to expect. But we've gotten a lot of amazing support from community partners. I worked with Escuela Verde prior to this project. So I was working there since 2006 up until this past summer when I left to launch Algo Dulce. But then, I don't know, like, anytime, like, I left, but it felt kind of empty. So I was really, like, part of me felt pretty empty. So I was really happy when I got asked back by this student to be a part of her senior thesis. I really enjoy working with youth, and especially, like, youth of color. My group that I work with for Sabor Verde are predominantly all young Latinas who reside here in the city of Milwaukee. And I personally never had that mentor, influential Latina when I was in high school. And I think a lot of them really do see me like a mentor. And that has been really great for me.
Yeah.
Knowing that I'm making some kind of impact in their life.
Yeah.
Quick question. You mentioned the importance of mentorship. And when you started kind of talking to different businesses, was there anyone that kind of mentored you in a sense or helped you out a little bit as you were going?
I'm very thankful for Jesus from Mazorca. I just, like, first of all, I, like, was, like, skeptical about going there for the longest time because I was like, is this a white-owned business selling tacos? And then one day I was like...
Chewy the Italian.
I was like, I'm just going to go. Go. We're going to see what it's about. Just leave the prejudgment. And then I was like, oh, damn, it's Mexicano.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay. And then, like, I just started talking with him. And I was like, I kind of just, like, have this idea. He's like, let's meet. Like, tell me more. And he just, like, gave me really good feedback and constructive criticism right off the bat. And that kind of just, like, inspired me more to construct something solid.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, like I previously stated, like, even those, like, I'm sure, huge friend of yours, right? Probably, like, a really good friend of yours, on top of just being a mentor. I think it's cool that, like, now Milwaukee's being able to collaborate to that stage and not be, in a sense, jealous or, like, be, too huddled onto their own team or whatever, squad, whatever they want to call themselves. Because it is true, like, the first time I met Chewy too was like, what's your fucking 6-month goal? And I'm like, bro, chill, like, I'm 3rd episode in, calm down.
Yeah.
But I love that he had that energy. He was willing to help right off the bat, and like for the longest, it's been one of those people that we're trying to get on the show, but he's just damn too busy for us apparently. But whatever.
It's crazy because we met him because of Ordinary Freaks.
Literally met him because Ordinary Freaks.
And we're real close with him now. It's a battle with him. But we'll get him on.
We'll get him on soon.
You're about to have to set up at Mazorca.
Dude, literally, I'm about to pull up on him with the mic on.
The taco truck.
Can you speak on maybe some of the challenges you faced as a business owner this past year?
I think a huge one is I decided to be and launch in the farmers market scene with a purpose. There's not a lot of artisan food producers that are of color in the city. And I think my product's fairly new to people who are not Latinx. So just having to, like, educate and, like, this is what it is, or some of my paleta, my popsicle flavors are not like the norm or like what people are used to. So people kind of like having to take the risk to try it, or like, I'll pass today, maybe next time. But I'm like, but it's really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is a lot of that. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, I'm sure it is, and like I do everything by myself. I prep, I pack, I set up, I break down. So,
Marketing.
yeah, everything
Yeah.
by myself. So obviously that's exhausting on top of being a full-time parent, single parent, and being a full-time college student, and doing community projects. So it's been a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
It's exhausting, but it's definitely been worth it.
Yeah.
What keeps you going?
What keeps me going? The positive feedback. I mean, like, yes, when you're running a business, you have to worry about numbers and all of that. So I'm not going to say that that's not important. But for me, it's the process.
Okay.
The process and enjoying all the steps is what's important and been keeping me going.
Yeah. So where do you see Algo Dulce in the future?
Where do I see Algo
Yeah,
Dulce?
where do you see it going? What's your plan?
I really much envision a product line that is in the works.
Are you thinking national distribution?
I mean, potentially, but my heart and soul is very artisan, small, local co-ops, food co-ops.
Gotcha.
Anything else for you? Like, what's in the future? What can we expect from Dominique?
I mean, I have some things that I'm working on that are in beginning stages, so I can't really like share full on, but stay tuned.
Stay tuned to the end of the episode when we leak all the information. I'm just kidding. No, that's cool. All right, well, let's move on to our ordinary free questions.
Okay.
What advice would you give someone going into their junior or senior year of high school, graduated, or maybe they're in your situation where they're in college and really don't know what to do or where to go?
College ain't it, sis? No, I'm just kidding. I think that I would. So I think if I could, I mean, I don't think I really knew what I wanted to do. Like when I finished high school, I was just like, I'm done. But I feel that if I would have had a grasp about what I wanted to do, I would have definitely reached out to someone who was like in a position of future me and to see, what is your day like? What do you do? What are some of the tasks that you enjoy? What is least enjoyable? So kind of shadowing someone who is future you.
So in a sense, like find a mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the best advice you've gotten, and who gave you that advice?
Like life advice or?
Yeah, life advice.
Yeah. The best one or the one that kind of sticks out to you that you always come back to?
Like money isn't going to bring you happiness. And I think that I'm very much... I mean, I never started Algo Dulce with the intent that I'm like, oh, I'm going to make a bunch of money and then I'm going to be set. I think enjoying the process, enjoying having to start off small and then building off of that. Because at the end of the day, like, you could have everything, you could have money, you can have everything, but if you're not happy, it's not going to mean anything.
Mm-hmm. If you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be and where would you take them?
Dang, that's intense. I don't know.
No one?
No one.
I'm blanking right now.
Your celebrity crush?
I don't have a celebrity.
You would take Cardi B. You would take you.
Oh my gosh, yes, Cardi B. Cardi B.
Yeah, I know you.
She's under some fire right now, so I'm trying to stay neutral. But
Try not to read.
prior to all that, Cardi B.
We feel that. Where will you take her?
I don't know. I feel like she'd be down for anything, to be honest.
I don't know Cardi B like that.
Salmon tacos.
Oh, that sounds fire.
Salmon tacos.
That sounds good.
I was like,
All
you
right.
can't go wrong there.
Well, before we ask you the last question, where can people find you?
They can follow my social media. So Instagram at algodulce.mke. Same as for Facebook. And I always post probably like a week in advance where you can find me on a weekend, or if I'm going to have a market that's going to be steady, as soon as I know, I always post that as well.
Cool. Well, we're reaching our end. The show is called Ordinary Freaks, and that's up to your own interpretation of the word. But on the scale from 1 to 10, how weird are you? How much of a freak are you, and why?
Y'all should have prepared me for these questions.
All of them are stopping you today. You're usually pretty quick with your answers, too. So
I know,
I'm
I was like,
surprised.
well, because I'm trying to not say anything petty, and I'm trying to be like,
Say the pettiness.
no. I would say like 10 being like the most.
Yeah.
I mean, I would feel like most people would put me at a 10, but I would say an 8 because like I'm low-key kind of introverted when there's a lot of people around. Mm-hmm. But in terms of like my work ethic and taking things on, I feel like I just want to do it all. And somehow I always pull it off and make it happen. But I do lose a lot of sleep and spend a lot of time executing.
I know. Trust me, we got to talk after because I'm on the same boat. But thank you so much, Dominique. Thank you, B. Thank you, Chato, our assistant producer. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Ew.
Peace.